In this video, I'm going to look at the leading companies across the AI value chain and cover my top stock picks in this space. And I think some of these stocks are going to make investors very rich in the next couple of years. There are 6 stocks that I'm going to cover today, and we've already seen all of these companies achieve over 100% stock price growth in the last 5 years, and a couple of these have even achieved growth of over 1,000%. However, although this is a great opportunity to make money, the reality is most investors won't, because it requires a lot of work and research, and the majority of people just want quick answers on what to buy. The good news for you is that I've done that research and I'm going to share it with you today. So when you break down the AI value chain, there are 6 key steps to get to a point where you and I can use products like ChatGPT. And the way I've selected the stocks in this video is by looking at each of the stock picks using a scorecard to rate their performance. Step 1 of the AI value chain is design and EDA, which stands for exploratory data analysis. This is where the concept is born, and the process typically takes about 2 to 5 years, so it's a long cycle. My stock pick in this sector is Cadence Design Systems. This is a very fast growing company, and they work closely with companies such as NVIDIA. If we look at their scorecard, Cadence reported a strong performance for Q2 this year, coming in above market expectations with an earnings per share of $1.65 compared to the forecasted $1.57. So that's really impressive. They also reported that revenue was up at $1.28 billion. They have more cash than debt, and they have an operating margin which is around 30%, which is great to support their future growth. So the growth story continues for Cadence, and it's helped their stock price go up by over 200% over the last 5 years. And in my view, Cadence has a critical role right at the start of the AI value chain. So now if we move to step 2, which is developing a fully functioning chip that can be used for AI, although there are different companies that do this, it's really hard to look away from NVIDIA at the moment because they have become the undisputed market leader and the gold standard that other companies look up to. Their scorecard is up there with the very best stocks to buy right now. NVIDIA have seen 69% revenue growth year over year. They have over $53 billion in cash and short-term investments, and their operating margin is 50%. So they're in a really healthy financial position, and it was a no-brainer for me to include them on my AI stock list. NVIDIA have achieved rapid stock price growth recently, going up by over 1,500% over the last 5 years, and NVIDIA's Q2 earnings readout is scheduled for later in August, and there are extremely high expectations on them, so it'd be interesting to see how that plays out and if they manage to beat what forecasters are predicting for them. The next step is step 3, and that is the manufacturing of chips. The company on my AI stock list for this step is TSMC, which is the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. They are a subcontractor for the chip designers, so in the example I just gave, the designer was NVIDIA and TSMC manufacture their chips. They also have full integration with Cadence Design Systems, so when you're designing, testing and optimizing in Cadence software, you can run through the whole process virtually and make sure everything is okay before TSMC actually make it. The reason TSMC make my AI stock list is because they are the world's largest contract chip manufacturer with over 60% market share, and they produce chips for not just NVIDIA but also other massive companies like AMD and Apple. Their scorecard also backs this up. TSMC have achieved over 30% revenue growth over the last 12 months. Their operating margin is around 50%, and they have 2.5 times more cash than debt. And as a result of all of this, they have seen really strong stock price growth, achieving almost 200% growth in the last 5 years. So we're at the halfway point in the video, and I've still got 3 more stocks to reveal. If you're finding this video helpful, please do subscribe to my channel as I'm just starting out on YouTube, and any support that you can give really helps the channel to grow. Alright, with that said, let's get going with the rest of the video. Next up is step 4, which is IP and tooling. The company that I want to talk to you about here is called Applied Materials. They essentially license out their IP and provide tooling to manufacturing companies like TSMC that I spoke about in the last step, who then use it to produce the chips. Although Applied Materials have under 10% revenue growth, they have 30% operating margin, and over the last 5 years their stock price has grown by almost 200%, so it's another company with lots of growth potential. Applied Materials released their latest earnings figures on the 14th of August, so it's definitely something to watch as there may be some short-term stock price movement following this. Moving to step 5, which is about deploying AI and using cloud service providers. There are lots of options to choose from here, such as Google Cloud Services, AWS, Microsoft Azure and Oracle. Personally, I've picked Microsoft Azure as it's the fastest growing of them all, and I'm definitely planning to continue investing in Microsoft over the long term. If we look at their scorecard, Microsoft reported really strong Q2 earnings with revenue reaching $69 billion. This is a 12% increase year over year. Their net income grew 10% to over $24 billion. They have an operating margin at 45%, and they have around 2 times more cash than debt. Microsoft recently joined Nvidia as a company valued at over $4 trillion, and they've achieved over 150% stock price growth over the last 5 years. In my view, Microsoft is a generational company, and it will be one of the key players to own in the AI value chain. So the final step in the AI value chain is step 6, and this step is all about how the end users consume AI. My stock pick here is Palantir, who are a software company specializing in AI-powered operating systems, and they are tailor-made for their business customers. If we look at Palantir's scorecard, they're a really strong performer. They just released their Q2 earnings and it beat what Wall Street was expecting, with revenue coming in at just over $1 billion and adjusted earnings of 16 cents per share, beating analyst estimates of 14 cents per share. Their debt is only $240 million compared to having huge cash reserves of $6 billion. This is one of the highest cash to debt ratios in the industry and a really great platform to fund their future growth and expansion. Palantir have experienced unbelievable stock price growth recently, going up by over 1,600% over the last 5 years, and they've definitely been one of the stock market's star performers. Now you might be thinking, well, the stock price for Palantir, like Nvidia, has already gone up by massive amounts, but I think of this in terms of long-term investing, and I ask myself the question, are these companies that I want to hold for the next 5 or 10 years? And do I want to have the leaders in their respective industries in my investment portfolio? For me, the answer is absolutely yes, but it goes without saying, make sure you research your investments before buying anything. This video is not investment advice, it's for educational purposes to help you along your investment journey. So that wraps up my top 6 AI stocks. If you found this video helpful and you want more content like this, then check out my next video where I deep dive on the Mag 7 stocks, so companies like Meta, Amazon and Apple. That's it from me. Please do subscribe to my channel, give the video a like, and I'll see you on the next video.